what happened. Yeah. You watched the movie today? Tell me why. Tell me why I'm making my plate food, you know? I'm making my plate of rice. Tell me why. I put the plate on top of the, you know, like the gloves, whatever. I put it on top of it. In my head, I thought nothing gonna happen. My fucking plate food fall over. My chicken fall on the floor, my rice fall on the floor. I tell my mom, do not laugh. She had to turn around so quick. She was dying laughing. And my mom said, 5-second rule, 5-second rule. I'm like, oh my god. So 5-second rule, you know, I pick that bitch up, make sure no hair on that bitch, I blow on that hoe. Hey, I'm not wasting no chicken, you know? No, I throw that shit away, no. Oh, does that call me early as a bitch this morning, fucking... I know, like I said, girl... No, cause she said, why she not picking up? I told her she's sleeping. I told her she... Leave me the fuck alone, I'm not busy right now. Fuck, bro. I'm not joining this motherfucker, bro. I love my. My bad, y'all. I'm back. Somebody added me too, and I was on the phone with my girl, you know.
Well, that's risky. U.S. bank accounts have digital tools, so at least you can manage your money safely.
Who the hell added me, bro? I'm trying to find the name.
I decided to partner with Hero to try and test their newest products. Hero's Mighty Pack for Tired Eyes and Bright Eyes Illuminating Eye Cream.
I cry for you. Yo. You have a mic? Do you laugh with me? Sympathize for Jesus. Yo, you got a mic, broski? Like and subscribe, y'all, for more content, more videos. Yo, you have a mic, broski, or no? I cry for you. I will cry for you. I cry for you. Yo, you got a mic 2016? Your mic's muted if you're talking, broski.
A friend I used to work with told me a scary story about his neighbor who has turned his life into something like a horror movie. I didn't believe him at first, but this neighbor, it seems, is known by others around there for acting really weird. Since hearing the story, a bunch of people have told me they think the same. Even my boss, who's like a mom to me, talked about it. She's not one of those stories. This scary stuff is happening in a small town in Ohio, not Michigan. It all started about 5 years ago, and it's been getting scarier, especially lately. The neighbor was always a little strange, but things got worse after he caught his wife cheating on him. He just lost it. First, we found our pets, dogs, dead. Someone had shot them. It wasn't hard to guess who it might have been, because there aren't many houses around here. This happened more than once, but we never called the police because of a few reasons. The man was known to be dangerous, and there was no proof it was him. Plus, if the police came and found nothing, he'd know we were the ones who called them. Fast forward to a few months back, another pet went missing. I decided to search the woods near our place by myself because my buddy was too scared. I wasn't out long when I heard something. Searching, I spotted him. Considering what he'd done before, I knew I had to get some proof. I took out my phone to record. I tried to sneak closer and hid behind a tree, only showing my phone to record him. He was in a clearing, digging a big hole under some trees. I yelled out to see how he'd react. That was a bad move. You'd think a normal person would look around to see where the noise came from, right? Not him. The This guy jumps out of the hole, grabs a gun, and starts pointing it all around. After I ran away, I couldn't stop thinking about what he was digging for in the woods. Nothing made sense. But then again, nothing he does ever does. A few nights later, my dog got loose again. The invisible fence we used
What's up,
wasn't working
Golden?
right. It was 3 a.m. and my dog was nowhere in our
Golden.
yard.
My bad,
Luckily, I had a
bro.
friend
My
with me this
Wi-Fi
time.
went out, bro.
We walked through the woods and saw
That shit
the
bullshit. My shit went out for an hour, bro.
lights were on. We got closer, curious.
Bro, I'm not joining the game, bro. See. Oh, this kid, bro, keep inviting me. This one kid, he added me. I'm gonna add him right quick. He don't even got a mic.
At 3 a.m., sharpening what looked like spears. Yes, spears. He stopped after a while, went inside, and then came back out through a door near the garage. My friend hid at the side of the garage to watch. There was a light on the side of the house, and he could see everything. The man came out, picked up a very heavy black bag, and put it in his wheelbarrow.
You playing Call of Duty?
Heavy, you should know this guy is really strong.
Oh, yeah, I know. You playing Call of Duty, it says.
So whatever was in that bag was not just trash. He paused for a moment, grabbed a shovel to go with the bag, and headed into the darkness towards the woods. It was the same direction where I had seen him digging earlier. I couldn't shake off what I had seen, so a couple of nights later, I went back to his place. This time I arrived just as he was pulling another bag out of the garage. But then, things turned even stranger. He dropped the bag and started hitting it with his fists. Then took a golf club and hit it even harder. After a few hits, he threw the club aside, loaded the bag into his wheelbarrow, gave the shovel a hard smack against the bag, and headed into the woods again. This brings us to a few weeks ago. My dog had been missing for a few days. Worried sick, I decided to take a risky move. After noticing he had gone out, presumably hunting, I sneaked into his house. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I hoped to find any sign of my dog. I started searching from the basement up, but it was on the second floor that my heart sank. I heard the front door open. He had returned. In a panic, I hid in the closet of the nearest room, which happened to be his bedroom. I closed the closet door and crouched down, hoping he wouldn't come in. But he did. He walked into his bedroom, still in his hunting gear and mask, and placed his gun on the desk. I was frozen, not knowing his next move, how long I'd be trapped, or what he'd do if he found me. I felt like I was in there for hours, but it was only a few minutes. When suddenly there was a noise from downstairs. It felt like a stroke of luck. He grabbed his rifle and rushed downstairs. Seizing the moment, I sprinted down to the basement and out of the house while he was distracted. I never thought I could run so fast. After escaping from his house, I dashed through the woods and made it back to mine. The good part of all this? I'm still here. And that noise that made him grab his gun and rush downstairs. It was the police, there with a warrant to arrest him. I'm still trying to piece together what exactly he's been up to. His brother and the cops haven't shared much with me. I left a hint for the police about the woods, but as far as I know, they haven't searched there yet. Hopefully, he's still locked up. Here's what happened next. My friend and I went into the woods, making sure he wasn't around, to check out what he had been digging. We found a circle of those spears stuck in the ground, with big holes in front of them, some filled in. They looked just like graves, about 6 feet deep. I can't figure out what he was planning, but I'm keeping my eyes open. Another update. While the creepy neighbor was in jail, I did some work for his brother during the summer. He's a bit odd, but not as bad as the neighbor. He wanted a big hole dug in his basement, saying it was for drainage, but it needed to be big enough for someone to fit in. The basement had this terrible smell like rotting meat, similar to a dead deer left out in the sun. Why did I agree to do it? Well, I've dealt with strange people before, and he didn't seem as dangerous as his brother. Plus, I needed the money. After finishing the job, I left as quickly as I could. Now for the final update on this story. The neighbor is out of jail and back home. This all happened between 2015 and 2016, and it's been quite a while since these events unfolded. Maybe there was a dark secret, or maybe he's just another troubled soul, which isn't rare around here. It's been years since I last spoke with the person who told me this story, but I might reach out for more updates. If there's any new information, I'll be sure to share it.
Hey, bro, you wanna hop on Minecraft for a bit?
I'm a woman of 32 years now, but this scary tale happened when I was just 13. One evening, I was over at my friend's house for a sleepover. Let's call her Emma for the story. Emma's home was in a not-so-nice part of town, a short walk from where we went to school. Her mom, raising her alone, was working till late that night, leaving us the freedom of the house. She made sure we had plenty of snacks and let us pick movies to watch to our heart's content. It was still light outside, so we decided to take a stroll to the nearby pond and park area, not far from Emma's place. As we were making our way back,
the villagers
almost
are
reaching Emma's house,
bigger or not.
a car
It's
came
not
up
traffic
behind us.
moving in.
I didn't know who it was, but Emma recognized him immediately. She whispered to me, "That's Mike, our neighbor." Mike appeared older, probably in his 50s, with a noticeable gray beard and always wearing a baseball cap. He slowed down his car next to us, asking about our plans for the night.
More food for them.
Emma cheerfully shared that we were planning a night of pranks on other kids and watching horror movies. Mike laughed in response,
Excuse me, sorry.
but something about his smile made me uneasy. I wondered why Emma shared so much with someone I considered a stranger, but perhaps she trusted him more. In a low voice, Mike remarked, "Looks like your mom's not home again. Working late, right?" Emma, in her usual carefree way, replied, "Yes, she's on the night shift, so we've got the place to ourselves." That same unsettling smile crossed Mike's face again as he said, "Well, have a great time at your sleepover and try not to cause too much trouble." With that, he drove off to his house, glancing back at us as he walked inside. Once we entered Emma's house,
That looks so
I couldn't help but
cool.
express my
That look
concerns
nice.
about
I like
Mike.
that.
His presence had genuinely unnerved me. Emma reassured me, saying she found Mike a bit weird but didn't think he was dangerous. Emma was always the one who saw the good in people, while I was more careful and worried about things. That night, after making a pizza and gathering snacks, we settled in to watch movies and chat with friends online until late. It was past midnight, and Emma's mom hadn't returned. We were starting to doze off
Your mic is muted?
with a horror movie playing quietly on the TV.
What's it called?
Suddenly, Emma muted the TV and whispered to
How
me,
you been, man? I
I
haven't talked to you in days. I feel like it, bro.
She crept to the window to
Hey, I got five netherite ingots for you, okay?
But then the light came on again. Try as we might, we couldn't make out anything outside.
Gotta go
Determined to get a better look,
go in the hole.
Emma suggested we head to the basement, where we might see more through the window there. We tiptoed down, careful in the dark, avoiding any lights to stay hidden from whatever was outside. Emma's sudden caution surprised me. She was usually the relaxed one, but the night's movies might have gotten to us. The basement had a big window and a door that led to the backyard.
Let me take this
As
to
the
the
motion
base.
light came on again, we could see a bit inside the dim basement. Then, the door started shaking, as if someone was trying to open it. We screamed, our hearts racing. We couldn't see who was outside because the door's window was covered.
Oh, hey, I don't play with
The door
Moon
was
anymore,
locked,
bro.
thankfully, but fear overwhelmed us. Emma found a
Dude's
baseball
being
bat
weird.
nearby and slowly approached the door. I begged her to back off, suggesting we call for help instead. Ignoring my pleas, Emma bravely, or perhaps recklessly, lifted the blinds just a bit to peek outside. Emma lifted the blinds slightly, and to our shock, it was Mike, the neighbor outside. Both of us screamed at the sight of him. Mike quickly raised his hands, trying to calm us, saying, "Hey, it's all right. I'm not gonna harm you. I saw someone in your yard and thought to check if you two were okay since it's so late." But looking into Mike's eyes, Emma and I could see something wrong, something dark. It was clear to us he was lying, trying to get into Emma's house under false pretenses. Emma yelled at him, warning him to leave or she'd call the cops. Mike seemed unfazed, insisting he was just checking on us because he knew we were alone. He reached for the doorknob again, asking us to open the door. I yanked Emma back, urging her to call the police. I shouted at Mike, telling him we were calling the cops and he should leave immediately. He paused, glaring at us menacingly, then turned and disappeared into his own yard. We rushed upstairs, and just then, Emma's mom came in. Breathlessly, we tried to explain what happened with Mike. mom was startled but hesitant to involve the police, arguing that Mike hadn't actually entered the house or harmed us. Emma and I were terrified, pleading with her to report him, but she maintained there was little the police could do. Thankfully, I never encountered Mike again after a few more visits to Emma's place. Soon, Emma and her mom moved away. I still wonder what Mike intended that night, but I'm relieved we never had to find out.
Right this way.
When I was younger, going to elementary school, my brother, mom, and I moved to Canada from another country. We found a place to live in an apartment where many people who had come from different places.
Hey, when you
lived
get
too.
over here, come to the iron farm, bro.
One day, as
You
we
gonna
waited
call
for
me
the
crazy.
elevator, a lady and her daughter who couldn't walk or talk well came to wait with us. They spoke a kind of Farsi, but it was different from what we spoke back in Iran. More like what people speak in Afghanistan.
Nobody, why?
My mom was really happy to meet someone else who spoke Farsi, even if it was a bit
That's the
different.
thing. Nobody,
They lived close
nobody
by.
beyond this world
This lady's daughter
besides
had a hard
me.
time talking or
And
using signs
I'm
because
being
of her
honest with
health
you.
problems.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know how every
We
time
kept
for the
seeing
creeper
this
farm,
lady and her daughter
the
around our
redstone
building in the
always
neighborhood.
break. I always gotta fix it.
But there was a problem. The
I
lady
don't,
thought a
I
man
don't know
was
why that
following
shit
her
does. I
daughter,
don't know why it
trying to
does that.
cause trouble. This
Or
man
the
had a
trident
daughter
be
a little older
disappearing
than
too.
me, and I
I'll be
knew
like, what
them.
the fuck?
I'd even taken care of their
I
dog
put
before.
Mendy on it too, and that shit just
The man's
still
daughter
disappear.
told us that her parents had split up, and she lived with her dad now. One evening, after my mom and I got back home, we ran into this lady right outside the elevator. She told us it was her daughter's birthday, and asked us to come over for some cake. I didn't really want to go. Something about her made me feel uneasy. But my mom felt sorry for them and said we wouldn't stay long. So we went to their apartment, and right away I felt something wasn't right. Her daughter was sitting in the dark, with just a small light on. In the living room, there was a cloth on the floor, with some plates, forks, and a homemade cake, like a picnic inside the house.
If you need stone, cobble, I got a lot of that, broski. If you need that, or dirt.
And told her to turn her phone off. She said we needed to be very quiet so that the man wouldn't know we were there. That moment, I felt a cold shiver down my spine. Who is doing this? My mom asked, confused and worried after hearing what the lady had said. The lady then shared more about the man living below them. She said he would hit his ceiling with a broom at all hours, trying to scare them, showing he knew they were up there. She told us a really scary story about how this man almost convinced her daughter to jump off the balcony.
Oh shit, damn.
She also said that he would come to their door late at night, knocking softly, and then whisper scary things through the door, talking about evil stuff. My mom asked why she hadn't told anyone, like the police, about this. The lady said she was too afraid that if she did, the man would find out and hurt them even worse. She explained they lived in total silence to avoid making any noise that might attract his attention.
Too, like, you go watch all my life. I haven't been on your base ever since you got off. I haven't been over
After
there.
eating the cake and saying thanks for inviting us, we got ready to leave. The lady moved very quietly to her door, gesturing for us to stay out of sight. She looked around carefully before telling us it was safe to leave. When we got back to our place, I told my mom that I didn't believe the lady's story because I knew the people who lived in the unit she was talking about. But my mom told me it was better not to get involved, and to just forget about it. After that, we didn't see the lady or her daughter for weeks. Then, one day on my way to school, I noticed some letters taped up in the lobby of our building. They seemed random, and I thought maybe they were from the building's
and I got
management.
sponges too.
But then I saw a letter stuck to the intercom outside. It was from the lady,
Yeah.
talking about how scared she was for her and her daughter's safety.
Yeah, I did.
She wrote that she had tried to get help many
What's it
times,
called?
but nothing had changed.
It's kind of far though. That plate.
The
Oh,
letter detailed the
you know
same
how like to
terrifying
make your
things she
armor
had
look
told
all
us
cool,
that
whatever.
night. Reading the last part of her letter made me
They
feel
got
really
a new
cold
thing
and
for
scared.
that. Like, I forgot the
In
name
her
of
letter,
it. I
the
got
lady
it
said
though.
something terrifying and strange. She claimed a demon attacked her in her sleep, causing her to have a child.
Oh shit.
She believed this demon was now living in the man below us. She warned that if anything bad happened to her or her daughter, we should feel guilty. Curious and confused, I talked to the girl and her dad about these claims. The dad told me he barely knew the lady, having seen her only a couple of times, and never really looked at her because she acted strangely, talking to herself, which scared him. He mentioned finding notes she slid under his door, filled with Arabic writing.
Oh shit.
After showing these to a friend, he learned they were verses from the Quran, used for protection against evil. he realized she was the one leaving the notes only after seeing her letters all over the building. He explained that they were asked to leave their apartment because she threatened to harm herself and her daughter by setting them on fire. The building management had to call the police because she was a danger to herself and others. Eventually, we all moved on and even left that part of town. But I couldn't forget about what happened. In 2015, I went back to the old building to meet a childhood friend and ended up talking to the building manager. I asked him about the lady and what had happened to her.
Freaking ass, come on now.
He told me she suffered from schizophrenia and had a very tough life. Forced into marriage young, and her daughter's disabilities were due to severe abuse during pregnancy. The lady truly believed her own terrifying story. She kept her daughter, who was actually a 30-year-old woman, hidden from the world. The daughter appeared much younger due to malnutrition and lack of care. She had never been to a hospital or school. It was a deeply sad situation, revealing how much the lady and her daughter suffered. I'm now 32 years old, but this scary thing happened when I was just 13. One night I was at my friend's place for a sleepover. Let's call her Lily for this story.
And something else too, the
Lily
iron
lived in a
farm
part of
working way
town that
better
didn't
too
feel
now.
safe,
Like it's like
and it was not
pumping
far
out
from
more
our school.
iron.
Lily's mom, raising her alone, often worked until late, so we had the house to ourselves that evening. Her mom had left us lots of snacks and said we could watch as many movies as we wanted. While it was still light outside, we decided to take a walk to the nearby pond and park, just a short walk from her house. On our way back, when we were almost home, a car came up
Or
behind
if you
us.
need, oh, I found the iron. I got
didn't know the
dark
man in the car,
saplings,
but Lily
dark oak
recognized
saplings
him
already
right
too.
away.
So if you need
She whispered to me that he
if
was
you
their
need
neighbor,
wood, I got wood if you
Mr.
need some.
Smith. Mr. Smith seemed old to me, maybe around 50. He had a gray beard and was wearing a hat. He slowed down his car and asked us what we were doing that evening. Lily told him we were
You want me
having
to come
a
to you?
sleepover, planned to
I'll
play
come to you right
pranks
now.
on some
I'll
school
bring some
friends
rockets,
and
okay?
watch horror movies. Mr. Smith
Let me
laughed and
just
gave
dump
us a
all this shit
smile,
out of my inventory real
but
quick.
something about it made me feel uneasy. I wondered why Lily told him so much, since I didn't know him at all. Maybe she trusted him more. Then Mr. Smith spoke in a
I
quiet
gotta grab
voice.
some rockets real quick.
So, Lily, I see your mom's car isn't here. She must be working late again, right? In her friendly way, Lily said, yes, she's on the late shift, so we have the place to ourselves tonight. Mr. Smith smiled that odd smile again and said, well, enjoy your sleepover, girls. Just don't cause too much trouble. He then drove off slowly to his house. As we walked up to Lily's
Where's
house,
my compass for your base?
it was chilly
I
outside,
ain't
so I
got
put
one.
on some
Fuck it, I
warm
know
clothes,
what's
grabbed my
anyways.
phone, and drove off to
Be
her
on my
place.
way.
I texted Ava I was on my way. Driving there, I felt incredibly lucky. Meeting a girl the first day I tried the app was beyond what I had hoped for. I couldn't wait to tell Mike about this. However, as I drove, the roads grew emptier, surrounded by nothing but woods. Houses became scarce, and streetlights were almost non-existent. It took me nearly an hour to reach Ava's address. Upon arrival, I messaged Ava I had arrived and looked up at the house.
I see your
It seemed
base.
old and neglected, which gave me a weird feeling. Despite this, I walked up to the front door, noticing the overgrown grass.
Shit.
I messaged Ava again, asking if I was at the right place. She confirmed, telling me to
Thank
come
you,
in and
Rusty.
call out for her. The house was dark
Okay,
and felt abandoned
2
as I
stacks.
entered. My attempt to message Ava again failed. My phone had no service. I decided to look for her and walked into what appeared to be the living room. The furniture was old and covered in dust. Then my eyes caught something chilling. A bright blue dress hanging from the ceiling. Seeing the blue dress Ava wore in her profile
Your base
pictures
look
hanging
nice,
there,
bro. I'm gonna lie.
alongside a black
Off the
wig,
cliff.
threw me off. Ava's hair was black in all her photos, so this didn't make sense. I called out for Ava, hoping she'd respond. But instead of her voice, I heard a deep, eerie yes from behind me. My heart nearly stopped.
It's coming up right here.
When I spun around, Ava was nowhere to be seen. Standing there was a man in a black hoodie and blue jeans, his brown hair
you think?
peeking out from under the hood. He gave me a chilling
I'm
smile
not
and
even
a
done
wink.
yet, bro. I just
Confused and scared,
the thing is
I
that
asked him who he
it worked
was.
more. It worked
He
faster
didn't
too.
speak.
Like
He just gestured towards the dress and wig with a haunting grin, holding something that looked dangerously like a gun. He demanded everything I had, voice deep and threatening. Not wanting
Oh,
to
the
risk my
netherite
life,
is
I
in
emptied
the
my
white circle
pockets into
box.
the
I
bag
got
he
fire for
thrust
you
at me,
whenever
including
you
my
want to grab
watch.
it.
After taking my belongings,
And I
he walked
make
out,
more
leaving
of
me
the
frozen in
things
fear.
to like, you know
Once I
how
could
you
move
need that
again,
one
I
piece to
dashed
make
to my
your
car
armor
and
and
drove straight
netherite
to
or
Mike's
tools, whatever.
place, not once looking back.
I make a couple of them too.
Mike called the
So
cops
you
for
could do
me,
that.
and I recounted the whole nightmarish encounter to them. The investigation revealed the man had been masquerading as Ava online. The dress and wig were part of his disguise, and the house was just an abandoned property he used. The most terrifying part? They never caught him. That was the end of my adventures with dating apps. I'm not sure how to start this, but let's begin with some background. I'm a 25-year-old woman now, but I was around 21 or 22 when I
You got
first
school
moved into
tomorrow?
my apartment. The building I lived in was usually very quiet. It was home to a lot of young families and elderly people. It was located next to a golf course in a small town where not much crime happened. 2 years after I moved in,
Damn.
a couple in their 40s
Fuck, I'd
moved
be
into the
tired as
apartment
hell.
next to mine.
Shit.
I never learned their names, but the husband knew mine somehow.
Oh hell yeah, that's good though.
That wasn't very strange because the elderly neighbors like to talk a lot.
Welcome to Vigo,
Shit.
where connections come alive.
Nah, tell me why I'm eating dinner, right, bro? I'm about to make me. I'm making me a plate of rice and some
I
chicken.
tend to trust my instincts about people.
And tell me why
and
my
they usually
plate
tell me
fall
if
over the
someone is
floor
not
and my mom
trustworthy.
dying laughing.
From the start,
My mama
husband
said
gave me a strange
5-second
feeling.
rule on the chicken. I was
Looking
like,
back,
hell no, no
he didn't do
5-second
anything
rule on
unusual
chicken.
at first. It was just a feeling I
She
had.
could probably had hair on that
Whenever
shit.
his wife was around and I tried to talk to him, he would interrupt her and speak for her, which was odd. It was strange, but I didn't think much of it. Then, about a year after my boyfriend moved in with me, he had an accident on Christmas Eve. He fell from a
Oh, at the
golf
creeper
cart and
farm,
hurt
I
his head
took
badly.
that pillar down.
He
The
couldn't drive for
platform in
6
the bottom,
months,
I took all that
so I
down.
had to drive him to work and back every day. He loves his job and usually works late, so I was often home alone until late at night. Somehow, the creepy neighbor found out about my boyfriend's injury and that he wasn't driving. This meant he knew I was alone most evenings, and he started doing things to scare me. There's one thing that happened that still scares me when I think about it. I'm so glad we moved far away from that apartment to a house in the countryside. One evening, after coming back from the store or visiting a friend, I was sitting in my car in the parking lot, looking at my phone with the doors locked because I'm always
Damn, my game
cautious.
lagging.
After about 10 minutes, just as I was about to turn off the car and go inside, I looked to my right and saw my neighbor standing in the walkway of our building, directly across from my car. It was around 9 p.m., so I thought he might be out for a walk with his dog or throwing away trash. I kept playing with my phone, trying to ignore him, but when I looked again, he was still there, just a shadow standing in the light. I remember
I'm
being
gonna
told
lie,
to
like
look
the
straight
first
at someone
layer,
who makes you feel
that took me
uncomfortable.
like, cause
So I
I was
stared at him
mining it,
until he
like I was
stepped
live,
back into the
whatever.
shadow,
It took me
out of
like
my
2
sight.
hours to get me like
Now,
get
I
halfway
was
done.
really scared,
Like
but decided
not
not
even
to leave
halfway,
my
but you
car,
know.
at least not until I had to pick up my boyfriend from work. I dimmed my phone's screen to make it harder for him to see me sitting in the dark. In a few minutes, he appeared again, walking from the other side of our complex. He wasn't with his dog or taking out trash, so I guessed he had already been to the dumpster. He walked past my car, stopped, and looked directly at me, pointing with his fingers in a strange way. Then he went to his work van, parked a few spots away, and took out some empty grocery bags. He took a long time with the bags before walking back the way he came, stopping again to stare at me before moving on. He kept stopping and turning to look at me, like a game of stop and go on the sidewalks that formed an H from above. Our apartment was to one side, and he had first appeared on the other. Feeling a cold fear, I texted my boyfriend about the neighbor's creepy behavior, feeling sure he was trying to scare me. We were both nervous when we got back home. As I was unlocking our door, my boyfriend went back to the car, and there was the neighbor, casually greeting me by name, though I'd never told him my name. It must have been another neighbor who mentioned it, but it was still frightening, especially after what happened. This man had done many other things that scared me.
Man, there's a lot of coal
before
here.
and
Holy
after
shit.
that night. My boyfriend, usually not one to
Coal
worry,
mine.
insisted on walking with me to the dumpster and the laundromat. He couldn't dismiss this as just a weird encounter. Writing this down, I struggled to convey how truly eerie it was. Maybe I was overreacting,
I got a 4
but
minutes.
my instinct told me something was wrong.
Yeah.
And I listened to it.
I got a couple. You want one? Okay.
This story is about something scary that happened to me when I was 13 years old.
You could
I
just
lived
put
in
it
an old
whatever in
house
the
that
chest
was
over
built in
here.
the 1980s.
I've got all the chest
Right
over
after
here.
we moved in, we met one of our neighbors. We'll call him Bob to keep his real name a secret. He came over with a cake to welcome us to the neighborhood. We said thank you, and later talked about how nice it was of him, because we had never gotten a cake from a neighbor before. A few months later,
Oh shit.
Bob started acting more and more strange. For example, he began to appear at my bus stop in the afternoon, even though he didn't have any kids. I told my parents
Yo, this
about
is
it.
my ass, bro.
They
I'm
didn't take
dead
it
here, bro. What the
seriously.
fuck?
They thought he must have a good reason for
Holy
being
shit. This skeleton's got me a
there. They
half a
started
heart,
paying
bro.
more attention to me and
The
my
fuck?
brothers. Let's name them Nathan and Gabe for the story.
Oh, you good?
Nathan, my older brother, was 14, and Gabe, my younger brother, was 12. Bob would often come to our door, asking if he could join us for dinner. My parents began to find him odd.
Let me go grab a
and
bed
thought
for you,
maybe he
okay?
had some
I'll be
mental
right back,
health
okay?
issues. I told them this wasn't a good
You can stay right
excuse,
there. Be right
that he
back.
was really starting to scare me. But they said I was just being too sensitive.
Actually, it's a.
Then
Yeah,
my
I'm coming
parents
right
went
back
on a
right
trip
now.
for their anniversary, leaving me and my brothers alone at home. The day was pretty normal, except for the usual creepy stares from Bob. But other than that, nothing out of the ordinary. At night, Gabe went to bed early,
There's
so
a bed
only
right
me
here
and
for you.
Nathan were still up.
Black one.
Nathan's room is on the other side of the house from mine. Around 10 p.m., we heard someone knocking on the door. I thought it was weird to have someone knock so late on a school night.
That's a
I
full
didn't want to
iron
get up
beaker
and
right
check,
there.
thinking it was just me being lazy. But the knocking didn't stop.
Oh, my bad, my bad,
It
my
got
bad. I'm
louder
sorry.
and more urgent. I finally decided to go see who it was.
Come on,
But
creeper,
as I
blow up.
got
Come on,
closer,
blow up, blow up,
I
blow up.
heard Bob's voice saying,
There you go.
"I know you're home alone. I saw your parents leave this morning."
Yeah, we do.
I
No,
got so
we
scared
no,
that I dropped to the floor
no,
and
because
crawled to
like I
Nathan's
don't know,
room to tell him what was going on.
I just like digging by
I
hand.
said we
I
should call
don't know,
the
that's just
police,
me.
but Nathan was against it because Bob hadn't actually done anything yet. So we decided to stay in Nathan.
Give back
I gotta get
is a
rid of this
very
water over here.
important tenet of the company and our culture.
Nathan's room, hoping that Bob would go away. I lay down on the floor trying to calm down, but then we realized we had forgotten Gabe. His room was next to the front door, right where Bob had been knocking. I quietly went to Gabe's room and woke him up. It seemed like Bob had left because it was quiet outside. Curious and worried, I couldn't help myself and looked through the peephole. At first I saw nothing, but then as my eyes got used to the dark, I saw Bob's eyes staring back at me. I screamed and told Nathan to call the police. Even after hearing me scream and knowing we were calling the police, Bob didn't leave. Instead, he started to hit the door with his body, trying to break in.
All the water out of here.
We ran to the bathroom,
all of it.
the only room without windows and with a strong lock. The 911 operator told us to stay calm and hide. We heard the front door break open and Bob searching the house. He came upstairs. We turned off the bathroom light so he wouldn't know we were there. My heart sank when he stopped right outside the bathroom and said, "I know you're in there." We were so scared, trying to stay quiet. We began to hit the bathroom door. We thought that was the end for us. We hugged each other, crying, but then we heard police sirens. Bob stopped and ran back to his house. The police came and we pointed them to Bob's house. They talked to him and called our parents, who came home right away. We moved out a few months later. This story still scares me, not just because it was terrifying, but because I keep thinking about what could have happened if Bob had managed to break in before the police arrived. I don't know why he stopped, but I'm glad he did. Bob was a real creep, and I hope he's in jail now, where he can't scare or hurt anyone else. A few years back, when I was just starting high school, something scary happened. It was towards the end of May, and I stayed up late to study for an important test in Spanish. Around midnight, all our dogs began to bark loudly. This was strange, because we lived in a safe neighborhood in Southern California where not much bad stuff happened. I thought maybe they saw a small animal like a raccoon or a skunk. The dogs wouldn't stop barking, so I tried to calm them down, but it didn't work. Soon, my dad came down, looking very sleepy. Just then, we heard a loud noise from outside. I was scared, but told myself it was probably just an animal. The dogs were now angrily barking at the window. My dad didn't want the noise to wake up my mom and brothers, so he went outside with a flashlight and a broom to scare the animal away. I watched nervously from the window as he checked around our trash cans. Suddenly, my dad yelled in a way I had never heard before. My mom rushed kept watching from there. I saw a woman covered in blood, holding a bag, probably with her clothes in it. She was crying and talking
did you
to my
pick
dad,
that sponge
but I
up?
couldn't hear what she said.
Did you pick up a sponge?
Later, I learned that she was asking my dad to let
Can
her
you throw
stay
it?
with us
Can you
because
throw
her
it to me?
husband, who had drunk too much, was hurting her.
I'm about to cook
She
it.
said she lived in the house next door. We had just moved in about a month before and hadn't met those neighbors yet. My dad said he would talk to my mom about it, but when they came inside, the woman rushed past them into our house. From my room, I couldn't see anything but could hear bits and pieces. The woman spoke with a strong Eastern European accent. When my mom suggested calling the police, the woman claimed she already did. I stayed in my room, filled with fear, wondering if the violent husband might come after us. Time passed, but no police arrived.
That should be enough.
My dad offered to call them again, but the woman kept saying no. My mom came to check on me, immediately locking the door behind her, saying she felt something was very wrong. She called the police herself, and they had no record of any call about trouble in our area. She told me to hide in the closet, which seemed odd.
There we go.
I did as she said.
I got all the water out of here.
From my hiding spot, I could only hear muffled sounds.
Oh, dead ass? I found a couple too.
After leaving my
One or
room,
two pieces?
the woman didn't seem scared anymore and went to clean up in our
Damn.
bathroom. My
Oh,
mom
shit,
shared her
no
fears
shit.
with my dad, saying they needed to get the woman out of our house. Then they heard a noise from the bathroom. Heading there, they found no one. Instead, the woman had moved to our family room, stuffing our expensive electronics and other items into her duffel bag.
I don't know.
Suddenly, she
Yeah,
pulled out
for
a
sure.
large kitchen knife and demanded to be taken to my mom's jewelry. The layout of our house played a crucial
No,
role here.
I hope
My
not.
parents were in the kitchen, separated from the family
If it's
room.
a stronger
The woman was
here,
by a door that
I don't
locks
know.
from the
If it
kitchen
is
side.
one here, that'd be
They
kind
ran to lock it,
of
but
cool
as they
actually,
did,
you know.
the woman attacked, cutting my dad's arm. They managed to lock her in, and she eventually fled through the
More
back
water?
door, only to be caught by the police hiding under a car nearby.
Shit.
She was arrested, found to be under the influence of drugs that made her aggressive. The thought that terrifies me
We
is
need the
what might have
sponges?
happened if my parents hadn't managed to secure her in part of the house. My dad needed stitches for his arm, and I had to see a therapist to cope with my fear triggered by the dogs barking at night. Thankfully, no one
I'm
was
gonna grab a
seriously
sponge.
hurt, except for my dad's injury. The ordeal left us all shaken, but we were relieved it ended without further harm.
With my sponges.
Back home, still shaking from the scare, I eventually calmed down and checked my phone. That's when I saw a text from Anna that read, "You got lucky." This whole event turned into my most unforgettable Valentine's Day, yet it left me confused and scared. I had met Anna before, so I knew she was
water.
real, not
Okay.
someone pretending to be someone else. Over time, I've thought it over a lot. Either Anna was part of a plan to trap me, or perhaps she lost her phone and the person who found it decided to target me. Seeing my
Each dog is incredibly unique. Feed your dog's unique needs with Royal Canin Precise Nutrition.
contact in her phone. Both possibilities are equally disturbing to me. This all started when I was 9 years old. My family and I used to visit my grandma's place often, but we hadn't been there in a while because she had moved to a new house. So when my parents said we were going to see her, I
You
couldn't
can play
wait.
something else for a while, bro. I
When arriving
understand.
there, I got confused. Her house was stuck to
You wanna
another
play
one,
GTA?
which seemed odd to me because I was just a kid. I
Hell
ran
yeah.
up to knock on the door, too eager to wait. But when it swung
Alright,
open,
just
the people inside
let me
weren't
get
my
this
grandma's
last
or
straight line
family.
done, and I will go.
It was a
I'll buy
completely
GTA
different
with you.
family. Feeling embarrassed, I quickly closed the door and pretended like nothing happened. Later, feeling bored, I wandered out to the backyard. Since the houses were connected, I noticed the neighbor staring at me from his side. It was a bit scary, but I ignored it. Then my mom gave me a huge lollipop, which made me really happy. I was enjoying it in the backyard when I suddenly ran into the neighbor. He was a big, older man, and he didn't speak English very well, but I could understand him.
There we
He
go.
asked me about my lollipop in a way that made me uncomfortable, especially because of how he smelled. Then, without waiting for my answer, he took my lollipop, tasted it, and said, "Well, what's yours is mine now."
Oh hell
I just
no.
walked away.